Aleister Black and Ricochet have taken the main roster by storm ever since they debuted, re-establishing credibility to the flailing tag team division in WWE. They were putting up triple duty up until WrestleMania week, appearing on all 3 of WWE shows and competing for all of their tag team titles. However, these NXT prospects have been shining in their individual capacities too, with both being decorated champions on the brand. The larger WWE audience and many subscribers to this channel may not know about their achievements on the black and yellow brand and possibly their wrestling history prior to even signing with the company, as both have had successful independent wrestling careers. This is Wrestling Hub, and today we are talking about 10 things you probably didn't know about Ricochet and Aleister Black. Black and Ricochet are just the latest in a long line of wrestlers that have honed their craft in NXT before turning up on the main roster. Current stars like Rollins, Big E, Woods, Rusev, Balor, Cesaro, Owens, Zayn, Nakamura, and McIntyre are just a few names in a long list of male wrestlers that have had success on NXT before making their jump to Raw or SmackDown. Women like Sasha Banks, Paige, Becky Lynch, and Bayley are former NXT grads as well. Black and Ricochet have been lighting up NXT over the last year with their multiple successes. Ricochet debuted last year and was a part of the inaugural NXT North American title ladder match, which was won by Adam Cole. He would eventually capture said title from Cole and be the star man at TakeOver War Games. He would lose the title to Gargano. Aleister Black was NXT's male competitor of the year in 2017, and his rivalry with Velveteen Dream is considered to be one of the best in the brand's history. He is a former NXT champion, having won the title from Andrade Almas, but later dropping it to Tommaso Ciampa. Ricochet and Black were the 2019 Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic winners as well. Before they were wrestling in WWE, Black and Ricochet were paying their dues on the indies. While Black's success is outshined by what Ricochet achieved, it was still very significant. Black wrestled as Tommy End on the independents, becoming a big name within the European wrestling scene. He wrestled for promotions like Progress, Insane Championship Wrestling, CZW, West-Wide Extreme Wrestling, and PWG. Ricochet, however, was a massive name on the independent wrestling scene. Even though he has been able to use the name Ricochet for most of his career, he has also had a very successful run under the name Prince Puma at Lucha Underground. He is a former champion in New Japan 2, Dragon Gate, Chikara, and many more. He is considered one of the best flying wrestlers in the world and would often face Will Ospreay and Matt Sydal. He's a former 2-time winner of the Battle of Los Angeles. Ricochet ended up being the face of a movement that arrived in wrestling as younger and more athletic stars were showing their talent on a larger scale than ever before. This incensed many purists who started to criticize this new brand, while promotions like New Japan started to capitalize. Even WWE would decide to host their own Cruiserweight Classic tournament, this growth of which was widely associated with Ricochet. Ricochet and Ospreay had one match with New Japan which would be forever immortalized, as both men went above and beyond their abilities to show everyone their athletic capabilities, setting the wrestling world on fire. Old-timers like Stone Cold and Vader didn't appreciate the match, but have been proven to be incorrect through the growth of this type of wrestling. Aleister Black wasn't a privileged man when he entered the wrestling business. Black has mentioned on various podcasts that he had been through a rough upbringing, but the hard work of his father helped alleviate the pain. His father worked over 16 hours a day trying to provide for his family. Black mentions about how he never got the material things that he wanted growing up, even if it started to get better over time. Black then had to see his father go through a mental breakdown and had a tense relationship with him, and these experiences had shaped him forever, not just as a distraction, but as a means for a better life. Ricochet is 30 years old and is only in his second year with the company. This means that Ricochet may just have years to grow within the WWE hierarchy and reach the pinnacle. With his current showing on TV, we can see that WWE sees something in him. Well, they saw something in him years ago, but the journey to get here for him was a laborious one. After his match against Ospreay, which shattered all traditional wrestling boundaries, WWE approached Ricochet to join. However, that joining had to be postponed by almost 2 years because Ricochet was stuck in a contract with Lucha Underground, which didn't allow him to sign with a new promotion until their pre-tape shows aired. These shows took over 16 months to be broadcasted, and Ricochet was very public about his disappointment.
make mistakes and
Oh my God!
that wasn't a mistake. The way it spins round, catches it right underneath the jaw. He's out.
We see Aleister portray the character of a hard-hitting Dutchman who uses offense based around strikes that would be commonly performed by a kickboxer. There is a reason for this, as Black brings some MMA legitimacy with him, just like Ronda Rousey, Del Rio, and RVD. Black has trained in Kung Fu, Karate, Judo, and even Capoeira, which is a Brazilian martial arts. His shining light amongst these would be his kickboxing pedigree. The Dutch are known to have brought out amazing kickboxers, with the biggest star in the UFC being heavyweight Aleister Overeem, a man who once brutally beat Brock Lesnar. Black never intended to become a professional fighter and used his skills to ease his transition into pro wrestling.
Oh! Black Mass!
Both Ricochet and Black have had relationships within the pro wrestling landscape, and they have dated other wrestlers who are of relatively high profile nature, while wrestling relationships have become common with the likes of Miz and Maurice and Cena and Bella, and more recently Charlotte and Andrade. Both Black and Ricochet can join the conversation. Ricochet dated current Impact Wrestling star Tessa Blanchard until they broke up last year in May. Blanchard is the daughter of Four Horsemen member Tully Blanchard. She is a former Knockouts champion and is considered to be one of the best women's wrestlers. Black recently got married to Andrade's manager, Zelina Vega. Aleister Black's character may not be that removed from the man he is. While Black may be the character he portrays on TV, the real-life Tom does not carry a lot of the darkness that we see on TV with himself in his day-to-day life. Black has rejected religion. Even though he grew up a Christian, he soon realized that the religion is a way to breed hypocrisy, as people use the concept to do a lot of bad things. Black is a self-professed Satanist, but doesn't idolize the devil, just relates to the character of Satan from the Bible who lost a parental figure and was abandoned. Black is also in therapy to deal with his problems with inadequacy and fear. He uses his anxieties and fear, and then channels the energy into his work. Even though Ricochet may just be 30 years old, he is a 16-year-old veteran in the industry, having started wrestling in 2003. He has traveled throughout the world and has been a star in some of the best promotions in the world, some of which have already been mentioned. He also has won a litany of titles along the way. The feather in Ricochet's cap has to be the fact that he won the Best of the Super Juniors Cup, becoming only the second American to do so after Eddie Guerrero. Ricochet was 25 at that time. He has also had multiple 5-star matches, including the ladder match for the inaugural North American title and a 6-man tag where he teamed up with Matt Sydal and Will Ospreay against the Young Bucks and Adam Cole. Every wrestler that has entered the business after the Attitude Era has a whole host of wrestlers that they look up to as their idols and their benchmark for success. It is no different when we look at Black and Ricochet, as they had some very strong wrestling influences around them while growing up through the peak of the Attitude Era. Ricochet's idols aren't some far-out indie stars, but the two men that revolutionized his style of wrestling, and the man who is widely considered the king of charisma and one of the greatest ever. Ricochet idolized Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, and The Rock growing up. They are the most influential wrestlers of that time, so it makes perfect sense. Currently, many talent on the roster cite Mysterio as one of their idols, including Andrade. Black is more of a wrestling purist, and it shows when you look at the wrestlers he idolized. His favorite wrestler above everyone else was Jushin Liger, a man he got to face in 2014. He also idolized the likes of Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho, Hayabusa, and Dean Malenko, and it's easy to spot their influences in his style too. And those were 10 things you probably didn't know about Ricochet and Aleister Black. I hope you're all having a great day. Be sure to subscribe, and I will see you later in the next video.